What's going on? Daniel here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be talking about the 5 things that I wish I knew before I became a digital nomad. So if you're watching this right now, you're thinking about becoming a digital nomad, or maybe you're one and you're just in a weird place thinking, what am I even doing? I know I have those thoughts every single day. These are the 5 things that I wish I knew before I packed my bags and moved halfway across the world. Now, I've been a digital nomad full-time for about 1.5 years, and in that time period, I've lived in 4 countries and in multiple cities, and now I'm in Albania right now, where I've been for the last 1.5 months. I'll be heading over to the United States pretty soon, just to enjoy the rest of the summer and spend time with my family and friends. So these are the 5 things I wish I knew, and the first one is that digital nomadism is not moving around every single day. Of course, the idea of being a digital nomad, from the word nomad, is that you're always moving around, you're living in different places. So maybe some people just, misconstrue the idea of being a digital nomad. And for some people, it may work exactly that way. Maybe they just want to see as many places as they possibly can. But for the majority of people, trying to put yourself in that kind of situation only gets you to burn out, only gets you to mentally tired and physically tired, and makes the whole idea of being a digital nomad not so worth it in the long run. I've seen a lot of people who, after some months of being a digital nomads, pack their bags, go home and say that the digital nomad life is not for them. But if you look at the track record, it's either that they didn't have the plan in place, the proper plan in place to sustain that lifestyle. So actually being a digital nomad is not about jumping places, but it's about immersing yourself in the culture, in the place, and just having a good time while you travel. If you ever get to a point where you feel like you're not having a good time, maybe it's time to re-strategize and just have a closer look at what you're doing, and you might actually find some holes that maybe you need to plug for you to be able to have a better time. So the first misconception, the one thing I wish I knew, is that digital nomadism is not jumping places. Like I said earlier, I've been in Albania for over a month now, and the last time I was here for over 2 months, almost 3 months, and I just spent 2 months with my family in Nigeria, and I spent multiple months in Mexico, traveling around the cities there and just staying for an extended period of time in this multiple cities, and that way I'm able to get into my routine and just have a great time. Now, the second thing I wish I knew before I became a digital nomad is that majority of digital nomads are not people in their mid-20s, early 20s, just trying to run away from responsibility and have fun around the world. And now there's a study that just came out that actually confirms that the majority, about 42% of all digital nomads, are people well into their late 20s, 30s, and over 40s. Now that is a very strange thing to me, because what you see online mostly when people talk about digital nomadism and traveling the world is that most nomads are just young people who are looking for party islands and party boats, drinking beer every day and just hanging out and having sex and just doing all of this. But the real thing is that people who are traveling nowadays are mostly millennials, and you'd be surprised that millennials are now in their 40s. I mean, I'm a millennial and I'm about to be 30 pretty soon. I mean, as strange as that is, you realize that once you start traveling, the people you meet a lot, the people you spend time with, are people who are your age. In fact, I hardly ever meet people nowadays who are not my age. It's either we're almost the same age, though they are a little bit older than me. In fact, the last time I was in Albania, the people I spend the most time with are much older than me, people in their 40s and 50s, and that is the reality on the ground. So if you're looking to become a digital nomad and you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, I don't want you to think too much about it, because the majority of people who are traveling right now are people just about your age who are looking to have better experiences, maybe have had a rewarding career, and now in a place where they want to see the world and just enjoy the time that they have now. Now, the third thing I wish I knew is that digital nomadism is indeed slow-madism. And what do I mean by that? Now, this is a new word that's just been, flying around in the digital nomad community. Slow-madism is the concept of you just traveling slowly. Of course, you're still a digital nomad, but now you're doing it in a slow way. Maybe you do it like I do it. For example, I spend multiple months in some places at times, and I just rented an apartment, rented an Airbnb, and I just settle in, have my routine, wake up in the morning, drink my tea or coffee. I have my favorite restaurants, I have my favorite grocery store. I make friends in the places that I go to, and I actually immerse myself into the culture, making new friends, meeting new people, and just having a routine, and also having a job, having a remote work that you can do that sustains that lifestyle. For example, right now I work with an agency in the United States, and I also do freelance work, and these are things that are time consuming. In fact, most of the week I am working, but when it comes to later on in the day or most of my weekends, I'm free to explore, to just get out there and have a better experience in these places that I'm in. And that is the way that most people approach the digital nomad lifestyle. Of course, if you have a lot of savings, maybe you're just getting started right now, you have some money to spare, you can choose to travel fast, maybe in the next 1 year. And I've seen people just dedicate the first 1.5 years to just traveling solely based on the savings that they have. And that is also a way to do it. But if you want to do this long term, you want to be on the road for as long as you can, you're gonna have to slow down at some point, maybe get a remote job, maybe do some work away, woofing, whatever people do to make money on the road, right? These are the type of things that will help you sustain the digital nomad lifestyle. So that is where the term nomadism is slowmadism was coined. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that you're experiencing whatever it is you're doing, wherever it is you're going. The misconception I had was that everyone was spending time on the beach, sipping margaritas, having laptops on the beach and all these things, but that is really not the way it obtains when you actually become a digital nomad. Now, another thing that I didn't have an idea about was that being a digital nomad actually has a lot of downsides than upsides, or should I say that they are pretty much the same when it comes to upsides and downsides. It's not all sunsets and rainbows every single day. There are upsides and there are downsides to it. The upsides, of course, is that you get to travel as much as you can, you get to see all these places, you get to meet new people every day, you get to form deeper connections, make lasting friendships, even though you're not in the same place, but you have a better view of the world. Your horizon, expands, your worldview expands. And these are things that further down the line, at the end of your life here, at the end of your existence on this planet, in your final moment, you get to look back on and be like, wow, I lived life truly and deeply. And these are some of the big upsides that cannot be matched by anything. Now, when you talk about the downsides, there are a couple too. Now, one of the biggest ones is that you are always moving around. You're always making fleeting friendships. Of course, I mentioned that you make deeper friendships. As deep as they are deep in that moment that you are together. Now, I've made a lot of friends in my time traveling that I may never see again, but the time that we spent together, the time that we actually were together, having deeper conversations, sharing the same food, sharing the same, accommodation, and just, moving around and experiencing the places that we were, those times were just as valuable, as, the friendships that you make from when you were younger, from when you were in high school. And these are, I think, some of the downsides as well, because, you're making fleeting friendships, you're not, fully grounded in the place, especially if you travel fast. You might think of this as downsides, in which indeed they are. Now, if you think about the upsides, there's a lot of that as well. And like I mentioned, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that we are on this planet to make memories, to, create memories and to form deeper connections, form deeper, have a deeper meaning to life, which exactly is being a digital nomad really teaches you. It teaches you to let go of things. It teaches you to, not take things, too strongly, too deeply. And at the end of the day, you just realize that by cultivating these habits, you live a more meaningful, more purposeful, and more exciting life by doing that. Now, the final thing I wish I knew before becoming a digital nomad is that the economics of being a digital nomad favors total commitment. So if you want to live this lifestyle, you want to get on the road and travel for as much as you can, it's going to be really impossible to still have commitments back home. Maybe that's, having property, having, relationships, romantic relationships. These are some of the things that you're going to have to get rid of at some point. When I started traveling, I mean, luckily enough for me, my apartment lease was almost due, so I chose not to renew. I had 2 cars at the time. I got rid of 1 car and I kept another car just because if I don't have a good experience traveling, I might have to go back, to the States and, keep living my life, and I'm going to need a car. So I decided to keep 1 car. And after about 4 or 5 months traveling, and I was still paying my car note, my insurance, I thought to myself, there's no way that I will be able to keep up, these payments. I mean, I'm paying, about $600 in car note and insurance. And I was like, this is an extra $600 that would go into my pocket, that I can choose to have better experiences with. Why should I keep a car when I've not actually driven it in 5 months? So I went back to the United States and I found a way to have someone else pay for the car note. So now I'm not paying for that. I don't have an apartment. I don't have, anything that would, that I can say it's in my name, except for my personal belongings, things that I find sentimental that I keep with friends and family. And these are some of the things that I had to do in order to stay on the road long term. So if you have property, it's something that you might be thinking of, getting rid of. Maybe you have a house, you might want to consider putting your things in storage and just, selling off the property. If you have romantic relationships, you being gone for a while they're not there with you is really not going to work. So you need to, figure out that dynamic, right? And these are some of the things, that happen once you get on the road, once you decide to live this lifestyle. It's a completely new change for you. It's a new landscape completely that, you're gonna have to get used to. So that's why I always recommend that you start really slowly. You don't want to plunge yourself into the deep end and just hope that things work out. Being a digital nomad is a completely different lifestyle. And for some people, it's fun. For some people, it's not. I know definitely for me, I'm having the time of my life, at least while I do this. I know at some point I'm gonna have to go back home and, settle down, maybe find a more stable lifestyle. But for the for the foreseeable future, I see myself doing this, and I'm just having a great time right now. So these are some of the things that I wish I knew, or some of the misconceptions, if you will, about the digital nomad lifestyle, and some of the things that I want you to keep in mind as well as you embark on this journey. So if you've gained anything, love this video, consider subscribing. We've been growing really fast in the last couple of weeks, and you want to maintain that momentum. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. If you want to connect with me, see what I'm doing daily, you can head over to my Instagram, follow me there, and I post daily, or I try to. Again, my name is Daniel, and I will see you in the next video.